All right, today we have John Davis, and John's with Evac, and I would say Hopkinsville, but you're much more Hopkinsville. And Evac is a Lake Barkley Chamber of Commerce member, by the way. John's gonna be talking to you about the subscription service and probably also a discount program for chamber members, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, good, got that right. So, John Davis.
Okay, Farrell, thank you. Farrell, yeah, you need to make that trip to Louisville, that bus. There may be some prospects on there.
Could be. Could be.
We were trying, Jim and I were trying to hook you up earlier. That sounds like it has potential.
I had to get my chamber dude outfit on for that.
All right. Nice folks here. I got to meet and talk to most of you for a few minutes, and I'm not going to pull any punches about why I'm here. I'm here to see that every one of you all do an Evac membership. I'm going to read you something. It's really funny how these things happen. You know, timing is everything. Anybody know the Paris Farms over in Crittenden and Lyon County? Know the name? They're like the biggest farmers, I think, in the area. They got 30 or 40 full-time employees. I want to read you this. I had prepared things I was going to say, but Natalie just emailed me. They're going to pay for memberships for their employees. A lot of farmers do basically don't have to do workman's comp. So what more can you do for valuable employees than if one of them gets hurt in their operation, fool around the lake on their four-wheeler, their child gets hurt, that Evac flies them to Nashville or Eddyville, and they don't have to worry about any kind of bill. And a lot of them probably don't have health insurance. I know that's the law these days. She just emailed me trying to get together with her and get her check and a membership. She said, I just left, we have a couple more applications to fill out. I was just looking at my emails. I'll try my best to have them for you by Friday. I'll get it all as soon as possible. I came up on the bad wreck on 60 myself and called 911, so it's very important to have this. They flew them all, I think. It was a horrible thing. It shook me to the core. So she just sent me that this morning, and I thought that was so appropriate to mention. I'm not sure if that was accident this morning. I haven't talked to the Marion base, but I know we flew the, some of y'all may not, I think it's the Smithland sheriff and his wife a week ago. Had 2 helicopters and flew them. So tell you a little bit about why I do this. First of all, how many of you really like your jobs? Most of you. That's a good thing. I love this. This is more fun because I get people come up to me every day. You flew my husband, you flew my wife, you flew my child. I had a job in the textile industry for 26 years. I had a great job. I'm 64 now, but they sold the company. And at 57 or 8, I hope y'all are never in this position. It's like, what am I going to do? My wife, Nancy, who is absolutely wonderful, I do not deserve her. She's an emergency room nurse, has worked at Jenny Stewart over 30 years. She was flying on a helicopter. She's a nurse and paramedic. She's flown for 11 years on the Hoptown helicopter. She has done 1,000 patient flights. She said, I've got a job for you. She said, we need a membership person at the base. Turned out then it was Bowling Green. I eventually came to Hoptown, but I said, I can't do this. You know, I'm not a pilot. I'm not a clinical person. I'm just a sales guy. But she said, this is a wonderful job. It doesn't pay a whole lot, and it doesn't. But it doesn't matter. I enjoy this. My stage of life, this is a great job. I have fun with it, something I really believe in. She said, before you say no, I want to take you over to meet somebody. She took me over to Bowling Green. This was like a surprise birthday party. It's like, what on earth? What is this all about? She wouldn't tell me. We went, any of y'all know Bowling Green, Scottsville Road, built Leachman Motors. They sell GM products. Mr. Bill Leachman. She takes me in there to meet him. Later found out he was a good friend of Albert Sis that has a car dealership in Hopkinsville, a golf buddy of mine. Took him in to meet me, and he started explaining this accident he was in, this terrible motorcycle. He was with 2 of his friends over around Lewisburg, Kentucky, about 6 years ago. One owned the Harley-Davidson dealership. Some of y'all may remember this. The other one was a prominent banker. A lady who had drug issues in the past, young girl, crossed the line going over a hill, and she hit all 3 of them. killed the other two, his friends, and Mr. Leachman lost his leg. He got up and showed me his prosthesis, and he went on to explain not only Evac flew me, they were there quick, got me to Vanderbilt in 27 minutes. The doctor said saved my life, said your wife was taking care of me. And after that, I said, you know what, I think I can do this. I think this will be a fun job. And sure enough, it is. I hear stuff like that all the time. So when I talk about this membership, it's really about what it can mean to you. I've got a video, see if I can get this going. I want you all to watch. And then I'll explain a little more about specifically what we do. I think this is worth watching. Okay. See if I can get this thing going here. About 12 or 14 minutes. Y'all's attention span after that? Yeah. Okay.
Tell them what you had in there to start.
Oh, my granddaughter lives with us.
I have a deeper relationship with God, number one.
Disney movie.
And number two, things are not important in this world. Nothing. You can replace everything, but you cannot replace human life. You cannot. Nothing will replace that. So the most important things you have are your faith, God, your family, your friends. Those are things that can be taken away from you and take it back. All this other stuff we have in our lives and we spend all this money on, it means nothing. The grand scheme of things, nothing.
North Carolina Life Emergency Count.
I think we're doing something.
This is a couple of years old, so some of the numbers about how many bases
Evac
we
1 ground
have
standby
is
has become a flight.
not the same.
In 1985, Evac Life Team was established by a group of local citizens to provide critical care air medical transportation and ensure immediate access to definitive health care for their remote community in the Missouri Ozark region. Although air ambulances were primarily based in larger cities at the time, the company's founders believed that the people who need air medical transport the most are those living in rural areas, often too far away from a hospital. Today, Evac Life Team has grown to be the largest independently owned and operated air ambulance service in the United States, with over 100 bases. Since its founding, the company has transported more than 250,000 patients in need, serving as the critical link to improved response time and immediate access to medical care facilities for numerous rural communities across 14 states. And every second counts.
On board. Evac 1, have you listed ET? Evac 1, go ahead.
If you're like me, you either live in a rural area or you spend a lot of time outdoors in places like this, places you'd certainly consider to be rural. 46 million Americans live in rural areas, places that are more than an hour away from a level 1 or 2 trauma center or a cardiac or stroke specialty care hospital, the kind of places you find in major cities. The fact of the matter is that rural trauma victims are twice as likely to die from an accident or medical condition as urban victims, because of a failure to get to the hospital within a period of time known as the golden hour.
Evac 1, Evac 01, flight request, Hallville, Missouri, for a trauma patient, heading 247, distance of 14.
The paradigm shift that Evac created in this industry is the idea that by placing the aircraft closest to the people in need, so that when their worst day of their life happens, whether that be an accident or a cardiac event or a stroke, that you're there quickly to pick them up and take them directly in, whereas historically all of the aircraft were based in the city and had to fly out to the person in need, load them, and then fly back. which really was double the amount of time that it takes us today. And that's when you count on those resources around you to make that difference. So whether you either have
He's
a
the
quality
president
of
of the
life
company. He's
down
actually a
line,
nurse.
or whether
That's
you
his background.
make it, quite frankly.
Evac Life Team has established itself as the preeminent provider of air ambulance services to rural markets, serving over 1,700 diverse referral sources, including more than 1,000 hospitals and 700 EMS agencies, and attracting more than 850,000 members in support of its presence in their local communities to provide rapid access to advanced health care and save lives or improve outcomes for patients with critical health needs. Evac Life Team operates the world's largest fleet of Bell 206 helicopters, and this is the place that makes it possible. Completion Center here in West Plains, the 50,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility that employs over 70 aviation professionals.
We just got a brand new one in
Mechanics and
Hopkinsville. We're
avionics.
so excited. It's more
This
powerful.
place
and-
is completely unique in the air medical industry.
Well, the completion center is two things. We actually take a green aircraft, which is brand new, and convert it into an air ambulance. That's one. And the other thing that we do is we refurb our older aircraft that are inside of our existing fleet. The completion center from time to time does seem like an aircraft factory. When we produce 20 aircraft, if you're looking at it from a factory standpoint, through there annually. 8 new, 12 performance plus. We know this aircraft inside and out. We've been maintaining this aircraft for 25 years. Bell Helicopter has certified us in our jig fixtures, and we are one of very few amount of companies that are in the United States that have the Bell mainframe fixture that can do deep overhaul and repair. We have to perform preventive maintenance, routine inspections, so we place components on a schedule to guarantee that the aircraft will continue to operate perfectly. We all believe in the common concept. We all believe in one goal, one outcome, which is patient care. Everything that we do here in West, everything that the base is our front line, our storefront, if you will, and everything that's performed here in West Plains is support of that storefront.
This is the command and nerve center of your Evac team. This is CENTCOM, and it's open 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Call in the Evac team for help. That help starts right here, West Virginia, almost everywhere in between.
Trinity W12.
Goes as far as anybody can possibly get. I can't think of else that you can to make it more simple. We have a robust ability to
List include over 90 emergency medical technicians, paramedics, air communications. Expertise further maximizes the prompt safe time that rural residents outcomes. Instrument-rated skilled aviators who become proficient pilots by training of and Federal Aviation Authority approved programming. Each certified pilot meets FAA standards and has flown on average more than 5,700 hours.
such a fulfilling feeling when you're flying a plane to be able to directly impact someone's life. Lots of lives, family lives. And you lift with a critically ill or injured patient, and you know that the expedience with which you get to that hospital or trauma center, it's all in your hands. And when you do that and you complete that run and they say, well, they're going to make it, it's like, wow, this is something.
Evac Life Team is among the few air medical companies to utilize 5 dedicated flight simulators as part of its routine training program. Pilots must also achieve standards established in the company's proprietary FAA-approved training program of operational and procedural instruction, as well as aircraft and mission-specific training in the Bell 206 Long Ranger and Bell 407 helicopters. Rapid response from highly qualified medical professionals is key to impacting outcomes. As such, Evac Life Team employs medical professionals with advanced emergency and critical care skills. A registered nurse and paramedic are on every mission. Each specialist brings skills and experience that, when combined, enables the team to deliver the care required immediately as they arrive at the scene of an accident or medical emergency.
I think the medical crew are making time-critical decisions in very extreme, difficult environments more than anything. It's real simple. The people that work for us are a unique breed. It takes someone that's truly committed to know that I'm going to go out in the field where I have very limited resources, and I'm still going to provide that high level of care.
Copy, 5-minute lift, 8-minute flight, 138 Alpha Echo Group, Chandler Davis.
My job's good medicine for me. It's always a thrill. It's never boring. You're always able to grow with it. And I'm worried about that day when I'll be too old. What will I do then? So I hope I can do this for a long, long time. I'm nowhere near ready to give this up. Even 25 years into pre-hospital care.
Evac Life Team provides superior effectiveness in patient care and safety. Key elements to the success of its operations are the company's substantial commitment of financial and expert human resources, experienced and professional management of a common infrastructure, standardized and centrally controlled operations, well-defined policies, procedures and protocols, communication systems, and billing and collection systems deliver a highly effective operation. Ultimately, operations result in a streamlined, lower-cost infrastructure that ensures financial stability and operational longevity to be in a position to serve out its mission of delivering high-quality medical emergency response to rural communities.
John, we are communication with the ground unit on the scene, and I'm showing an 8-minute
Evac Life Team is one of the largest membership-supported air medical transport services in the United States. In fact, total membership is more than 850,000.
It's actually
Now,
the largest
how does
in the
that work?
world.
Well, if you ever need to fly with us as a member, whatever your benefits provider pays will be considered payment in full. You'll have no out-of-pocket expense. And how much does a membership cost? Well, it's roughly $5 a month. Sounds pretty good when you consider that the average air medical transport flight can cost between $12,000 and $16,000.
That's
I now
$25,000 to
understand,
$30,000.
as I have talked with people, being in the office over weekends, it's amazing how many people want to come and drive to West Plains or driving through West Plains headquarters from outside of the area that come here. Quite often they'll say, you know, we really appreciate you putting a helicopter where nobody else would. I feel so much better knowing that I've got a resource there. And you know, I don't think I'll ever need this membership, but I'm just glad that I'm supporting you because you were willing to put an asset that's going to make a difference in some of my friends' lives. And this is my pledge of support. And what's happened with membership over the years now is, while Medicare, Medicaid, and other payers do absolutely recognize the benefits of and therefore pay for air ambulance, you are still left with co-pays and deductibles. And the cost over the years of healthcare and aviation have both gone up to where people now are, there's a balance of folks, maybe half of them still saying, don't think I'll need this, but you know what, I'm going to support you because you're in my community. And the other half looking at the value proposition, quite frankly, of the price of a tank of gas today covers you for a year, and should you be flown, you would have no copay or deductible or uncovered charges billed to you. Whatever your insurance or whoever pays for your health care makes a payment, that's considered payment in full.
Evac Life Team is one of the first and largest membership-supported air medical services in the United States. Through its well-established community of over 850,000 members, local businesses and individuals contribute to the provision of a dedicated air medical crew and helicopter based in its rural community. In return, members receive valuable benefits associated with Evac Life Team services. What is more important is that your membership helps provide pilots, critical care nurses, and paramedics with a helicopter based in rural communities or right in your own community. It was on a farm in northeast Missouri, a place much like this one, about 8 miles from the small community of La Plata. It was a normal Saturday morning, but as the clock struck 10:30, the fielder's life would change in an instant.
I pulled up right in between the two trees over there in our flower garden, and there she lay. Blood all over her head, unconscious.
Tina's oldest daughter, 9-year-old Remington, lies nearly lifeless after being kicked in the head by a horse.
Our lives changed, just like that. I never dreamed that morning when I went into work that I'd get a call saying, you know, this is serious. Very, very serious.
It was an amazing deal when that helicopter landed on the ground and they come running over and took over. It was pretty impressive.
And the ambulance had to take her. Or even if a chopper would have had to come out of Columbia, St. Louis, or Kansas City, we're 3 hours from those two big metropolitans, or an hour and a half from Columbia. She was already in surgery by the time a chopper would have had to come out of there to here and back. She might not have made it.
Anybody that's not a member of Evac is a huge gambler, in my opinion.
You need to have a membership. It's the most important thing to have. I never had to worry about a bill coming for Evac. They called to check on us.
I'm gonna stop it right here and talk a few more minutes and take some questions. Would anybody disagree this is a rural area? I live in Christian County, that's about 70,000 people, I guess, and that is still very rural. You know, people who live in the city don't think about a child getting kicked in the head by a horse, but you would not believe the crazy things that happen because we are a rural area. You know, we typically think of heart attacks and strokes, and certainly 2/3 of our flights are probably hospital transfers, but because we're rural, we had 2 people killed on bush hogs in Christian County last year. It's like, how do you turn a bush hog over? I don't know, but it happens. Mennonites and Amish, y'all have some around here. We have a bunch in Christian and Todd County and Logan County over that way, and they have sawmills and they farm, and a lot of them have a membership. But it's horseback riding, I fell through my barn, it's 4-wheelers, it's gators, it's you know, without helmets, and I don't know how you tell people, please wear a helmet, but it's just routine that we'll fly a few like that every week. Of all people, the security officer at Jenny Stewart, we flew both he and his son within the same year, motorcycle wrecks. So, did you all see the Google Earth, Google World? Is everybody familiar with that? Have y'all done that on your computer before? You know, where you can actually look at the rooftop of your house where you live? That's pretty cool. Let me talk a little bit about kind of protocol, what's happening in the community when there's an accident. Scene accident, you're in a wreck, somebody finds you, vice versa, you find a wreck. First thing you do, call what number? 911. Okay, everybody knows that. And what's going on behind the scenes, when you call 911, that's going to go to the nearest dispatch service. They're going to ask you all kinds of questions. They're trying to determine where are you, what's going on, how bad is it. Typically, they will send the ambulance, the nearest ambulance service. In Hoptown, it's our fire department and ambulance, and it's that way in some other communities. They typically have EMTs, which they do a great job. They are highly trained. Evac on board, you have a nurse and a paramedic who has even more training to take care of a patient. They'll send the ambulance to the scene. They can actually also contact Evac. If they get enough information that they think it's bad enough, they can send Evac. They can fly to the scene. They communicate by radio with the ground ambulance and or the rural fire departments, which we have all over this area, all the counties, or the rescue squad. And y'all are familiar with rescue and the jaws of life. So they all have radios, they communicate. They're trained to land the helicopter. If it's an accident where they can land very, very close to either put the patient in the ambulance, take them to the helicopter, or physically carry them. If not, they also have predetermined landing zones. Y'all are familiar with we go down to Wranglers and Turkey Bay. We're down there routinely in the spring, summer, and fall. But we also have predetermined landing zones. People have houses that live in the lake area. It's like, well, if my husband had a heart attack, you know, I'm surrounded by woods. How are you going to get that helicopter in there? Well, we wouldn't. The ambulance would go to your house, They would meanwhile send the helicopter to a close by landing area. The ambulance could take the patient to the helicopter and load down, who could in turn fly to Nashville, Evansville, Paducah, Louisville, Lexington. We go to all those places depending on the circumstances. So that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes. One of the questions is who makes the call? Well, it's really typically it's up to the ambulance service and the rescue squad. They get on the scene usually first. If Evac is there, they land them. They end up not taking the patient. Evac goes back to the base, and nobody gets a bill for that. That's okay. That's part of our job. We're there if needed. So typically on the scene, they would make the call. Now, hospital transfers is it's up to the attending physician. It's his opinion. It's not a perfect world, and I hear all the stories. You know, I hear 99 good ones, and then I hear somebody, you know, I'll hear this, oh, you all fly anybody that cuts their finger anymore. Well, that's not exactly true, but because there are parameters for how and when you fly someone. Often there's a good chance of head and internal injuries. Yes, it is a judgment call, but the EMTs and the paramedics for Evac, they typically know more about that than the civilians, so they would make the call that they should be flown as opposed to an ambulance. Of course, the advantage to the helicopter, number one, the speed, certainly. The new Marion base can probably land anywhere in Lyon County. They can get off the ground in about 8 minutes. So I'm going to say 12 to 18 minutes. They can probably land anywhere in Lyon County that's needed. The bases, if y'all will look for just a second, I think I have enough brochures on the back. Evac is now part of the Air Medcare network, which means we have about 160 or 65 bases from Texas to Ohio to Florida. People say, well, I go to Gulf Shores on vacation. You know, something's not likely to happen, but old Fred's having chest pains and you're en route down there. You pull into a small hospital and they say, sir, you're having a heart attack. We're Evac. They can send that near. You see all the red dots. Those are all bases and helicopters. They can send one into that clinic or hospital to transport you and to an appropriate hospital, be it Pensacola, Memphis, Nashville, wherever. So it's pretty cool. So that's kind of what's going on protocol-wise. Again, in the hospital, the doctor, attending physician, some of the hospitals like in Hopkinsville, the helicopter is literally right across the street. They actually put the person on a gurney on wheels and just literally roll them right across and load them. We do transplant patients. I had a friend in Hoptown that had a lung transplant. Evac flew him 3 times to Vanderbilt. He had a $60 a year membership. We flew him 3 times. He finally got a match. He's got to go back again now. But we do transplants. This is kind of cool. We've also got, Evac has 2 fixed-wing aircraft. Y'all are familiar with aviation. It's a prop jet, King Air, great airplane. It flies up 20,000 feet. So you get circumstances where the weather's bad, something's really, really bad. They can actually, it's in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, which I was over at Marion the other day. Anybody ever been to the Marion airport? I couldn't believe how nice it was. Unbelievable for that little old community. But we brought the prop jet over there, and they can fly someone. They can also fly to a range, as in, you know, Dallas, St. Louis. That plane can fly like 600 miles without refueling. So it's really, really cool. We have one over in eastern Kentucky as well, but Poplar Bluff would be the closest. So have we flown anybody in here, or family member, neighbor, somebody go to church with? Okay. Jim, was that? Okay. I'll explain how Evac works. It is a membership. It's not an insurance. It is a backup to any insurance you have. And I tell people in this day and time, if y'all, and some of y'all may be in the insurance business, I've got friends in Hoptown they all have an Evac membership. Because we know what's going on in that industry. Premiums are going up, co-pays are going up, deductibles are going up. None of it's to our benefit. The Evac membership, if you were a family member, had to be flown. They do bill your health insurance first. The bill typically is $25,000 to $35,000. It is that much. Louisville, flying to Louisville is even more, UK. Your Evac would bill your health insurance, whatever they pay. If you are a member, Evac accepts this payment in full. They may pay 80%, great, but if you got a $32,000 bill, that leaves you about a $6,000 or $7,000 bill to deal with. So any copays, any deductibles are covered by the membership. So they collect what they can from your insurance provider. You don't get another bill. That makes sense? Questions?
Does that work with car insurance?
Pardon?
How does that work with car insurance?
They will actually bill all available insurance companies. And if you're flown, Evac will deal with your insurance companies. For me, for $65, I want to be a member so I don't have to deal with it. They will go back to them and back to them. They will bill and try to collect from all available insurance. So it could be car, it could be health.
What do you do with your cash pay insurance people? No insurance, self-pay?
They just like hospitals and doctors do, you end up writing off a bunch. You know, is that fair? The rest of, and you know, why does it cost $28,000 to be flown to Vanderbilt or St. Thomas? Is people say, well, jet fuel must really be high. Well, no. Part of it is we are paying for people who have no ability to pay. Everybody should have health insurance, but you know, that's the law, but we know they don't. And they end up, Medicaid typically has a statewide mandatory payment they make, and Evac has to accept it. Same with workman's comp, that's also state by state, it's a percentage, it's not, I couldn't even tell you what the amount is. So Evac does not net anything close to what the bill is, because what's the old saying, you can't get blood out of a turnip. There, you know, lots of flights we do, even multiple times. You fly the person because they need it. You worry, the billing and the membership process comes later. A lot of times I get the question, you mean you wouldn't fly me if I don't have a membership? No, it's not like that. You're flown at an appropriate time because it might, you know, if it's necessary, it might save your life. The billing process or the membership is a backup to something that comes later. So, PHI, I'll mention Evac in this area. We have a base in, we're in Evansville, we're in Hopkinsville, we're in Mayfield. We have a new base in Marion. Now the Marion base would certainly be the closest now for Lyon County. We've already done several flights over here. So they can land over here, they can do hospital transfers. But it's, I tell you, it's a wonderful service, and I get, just like that thing I just read from Natalie that came up on that accident the other day. And actually, there's probably more hospital transfers than seeing accidents anyway. The membership, if y'all look inside just a second, is $65 a year. That's the entire household. You take care of your grandchildren, your spouse. There is a $10 discount through the chamber. This is also a benefit for any chamber members can get the membership for $55. So if y'all are interested, it'd be $55. The 3-year membership is $165. You may want to just write it on there. And the 5-year membership is $275. See where it says 300? So it's $55, $165, $275. That covers your entire household. Questions that come up, well, I've got a college-age student that goes to Campbellsville or goes to Western, or, you know, as long as they're on your income tax, spend, you know, part of the year at home, doesn't make any difference how old they are. Adult children that are, you know, 42 years old, still living at home. If you have that, you have what's called a failure to launch. Any of y'all see that movie? That happens. But anyway, everybody in your household is covered. There's another service, PHI, that is in Paducah. They do some of the flights here. They're great people. They do great work. They do the same thing we do. They have a similar membership program. When there's a 911 call, it's honestly, it is about who is closest and who's available. And with us being here and then in Mayfield, for probably most of you, where your businesses are, where you live, it's going to be Evac. You can also request Evac if you have our membership, like for hospital transfer. And, you know, people would say, well, you know, if I'm about to die, I'm not gonna be in a position to do that. That's true. Typically, there's gonna be somebody there with you quickly, spouse, family. You have ID card in your billfold, you have car stickers on your window, so there's some ways they can identify it, but it's typically who's closest anyway. And if you have Evac membership, you know, they are aware that we're in Marion, Mayfield, and Hopkinsville, and also as you go further east in Bowling Green, that would be just in this area. So, anybody else have questions? I can go on and on and on, tell stories, but I hope you all will please. There's also, let me mention, this is a great idea. There's some gift certificates I laid on the table. If anybody's interested, this is a great idea for a Christmas present. We've all got Uncle Fred who would give another ugly tie every year, and he's never going to wear it. So you can give them an Evac membership. You fill out the application for them, their information, and the white certificate is something you can give them. This is like a Christmas card. This is what I did for you for Christmas. If they have changes in circumstances or renew, they can send that in later. But it's a great idea for a Christmas present. And please, y'all, please consider doing this. I'm going to stay a few minutes. You can fill it out and give it to me. I've got vehicle stickers, ID cards, everything you need. You're covered on your way home this afternoon. But you can either do a check or you can do a debit or credit card. See on the left side. You can fill it out in 5 minutes. Please join me.